Good Sunday morning, and welcome to All Elite Radio. And what a freaking collision we are coming off of, Ashley. And finally, the Minon Overlord, the forever ROH World Champion, made her way to Collision to challenge Mercedes Mone. Ashley, our opening question this week: are we getting this dream match at AEW Dynasty literally 1 week from today?
I kind of hope we're holding off a little bit. I mean, I would love to see it at Dynasty. Don't get me wrong. The sooner the better. Um, but with the way they're building up this Owen, I feel like we could be holding out for this one.
Yes, I can see this being the final of the Owen Hart tournament for the women, where you have Athena versus Mercedes Mone with the chance to go after Timeless Tony Storm's world title at All in Texas.
And I will take any of those.
Well, I did have this oddball theory before we learned that Athena was going to slide into this tournament. I was thinking this was going to be the run for Billy Starks to get up to the world title level because literally she had a great match with Mercedes Mone and a losing effort for the TBS Championship. And we saw that she filled in for Queen Aviana because the main event, a collision last night, was supposed to be Queen Aviana versus the returning Jamie Hager. During the show, we learned that Queen Aviana had a wrist injury and wasn't encouraged to wrestle. And Billy Starks put on one hell of an effort and a losing effort to Jamie Hayter.
Yeah, this is terrible news for Queen Aminata. I am hoping it's not too bad if they kind of had her penciled in for tonight. Maybe that bodes well that it's not as bad. They just wanted to hold her out for precautions. But Billy Starks absolutely killed it stepping in, and she deserved the spot. And another great main event for the women tonight.
Now, over on our Blue Skies socials, I had a listener of the show suggest a tag team match where we have Mercedes Moné and a partner of her choice versus Athena and Billy Starks. Would you love to see that match at AEW Dynasty?
Oh yeah, uh, honestly, yes. Billy Starks seems to be, whether she likes it or not, coming around to Athena's way of teaching. So yeah, I would love to see it. The more matches between these two, the better. Especially after this interaction tonight. Very excited for what goes down between these two.
And let's talk about the reaction of the crowd when Athena walked out to the ring. They were chanting her name so freaking loud.
Yeah, everybody's been waiting for this for a long time. She, we both know how she's absolutely carried Ring of Honor basically herself over there. And for her to finally come up and get this opportunity, and especially to come in at this time with these women, the way this division has been showing in this tournament that has been built fantastically, and the caliber of all these women that she could potentially face in this tournament, she's going to be excited, and I'm very excited to watch every one of these matches coming up.
Well, this coming Wednesday, we're going to learn the bracket for the AEW Men's and Women's Owen Hart Cup tournament. We will break those down next week on a special live edition of All Elite Radio over on our YouTube channel. So do yourself a favor, go over to YouTube, type in All Elite Radio, subscribe, hit that bell so you know exactly when we come on air next Saturday night after Collision. But let's go back to AEW Dynamite, Ashley, because damn, that was a good show too. And it kicked off with a match between Kenny Omega and Blake Christian. And this has been the first time I've seen Blake Christian in a while. And dude, this guy is a great freaking heel.
Yeah, if anybody hasn't been too familiar with him, he has been on Ring of Honor quite a bit recently. Um, in this fantastic heel role he's been doing. Um, a few good showings from him this week, and just showing off what a young depth of talent that AEW has right now.
Exactly. I mean, they had this gentleman on Ring of Honor doing a lot of stuff. They bring him over to face Kenny Omega. Kenny Omega gave him a good showing. Of course, he wasn't going to beat the Kenny Omega, the international champion right now. Kenny Omega did hit the One Wing Angel. It was a great match. You should go back and check it out. Now, the next thing we saw on Dynamite was MJF down in the ring, and he's going to give us the answer to the question we had from last week. Is he going to join the Hurt Syndicate?
Seemed like he was very intrigued by the offer, at least this week. I'm very interested to see where this goes because Bobby Lashley is very scary, and Maxwell seems to be antagonizing him.
Yes. That was one thing on Dynamite I was watching. I'm going like, MJF, that is a grizzly bear and Mr. Lashley, and he should not poke the bear.
Right, like MJF, you are very good, no doubt, sir, but Bobby Lashley is very scary.
And one thing we learned from Dynamite is when Bobby Lashley asks you for something, where it's your wallet, your keys, or the card that MVP gave to you, you better give everything right back over to him.
Yeah, and MJF learned that the hard way. I'm very interested to see where this goes because MVP seems very much to be an advocate for MJF joining them.
True. It was kind of like how we were thinking like a week ago, where I kind of wanted to see this short-term joining of MJF in a Hurt Syndicate, and we had some friction. I just didn't know we were going to get it from the Jump Street.
Yeah, no, I'm still very interested. I'm kind of almost more intrigued about him joining now because if he is kind of there to sort of bring them down or something, it seems very possible if he can create some tension between Lashley and MVP about just his presence.
Very true. We'll kick this down later onto the show during our final countdown segment. I have a question for this, but let's move on to probably my favorite match of the night, and it had my favorite spot of the week. Is Kyle Fletcher pinning Brody King after hitting that top rope brain buster, where I go, oh my God, I hope Brody King's okay.
Oh man, that's such a scary maneuver. Um, Brody King, man, just I want him in a singles title competition somewhere along the line.
I do too. And remember last week we were talking about how we couldn't figure out who we wanted to give the L to here. And like you said last week, Brody King's been eating some L's here lately. And I was hoping they maybe would have flipped the script here and had Brody beat Kyle Fletcher, but they are pushing Kyle Fletcher like he's going to be possibly the next AEW World Champion before we leave the year of 2025.
Yeah, and they did it in a way that makes a lot of sense. Mark Davis coming in. I do want to hear a little bit from Mark Davis, though.
Yeah, we still need to know exactly how this contract signing went with the family and Kyle Fletcher got Mark Davis into this situation. We still don't know that, but maybe they'll explain that down the road for us. But it bled into the next match because we got Powerhouse Hobbs versus Mark Davis after both gentlemen decided to take care of the AEW officials in the ring that didn't want to have the match just yet. They were ready for it, so they got rid of the AEW official.
These guys are gigantic, and this one of the biggest matches in AEW, quite literally.
I mean, this is the definition of meat versus meat, Haas versus Haas. And damn, I was happy for this match, and I was happy that Powerhouse Hobbs got the victory here. And it seems like we're still slowly building Powerhouse Hobbs towards hopefully a single title run. I like to see Powerhouse Hobbs in a TNT international title picture. Even though I know the babyfaces have both titles right now, maybe down the road.
Oh yeah, for certain. I could see them building him, especially towards like something like the TNT title. Um, I like this. He came back from injury. He kind of kept up the momentum he had before it, and he looked better and better every week. I feel like the investment should be paying off at some point down the road this year.
Exactly. If they don't do it by the end of 2025, I feel like this is gonna be one of those big miss for AEW where we go like, "Why the hell do you not do this? This guy seems to be popular with the crowd. He seems to be able to carry himself in the ring. Why aren't we doing something to build this guy to make some money? Because 'Cause aren't we here to make some money?"
Yeah, absolutely. But I feel like right now, like I don't feel like it's hurting Hobbs to not have a title. Like you said, like take his time to keep build him up, and I like you said, by the end of the year, if we're not in some sort of title contention, like he's challenged Moxley in the past, but if we're not in some serious title contention, then I would see it as a miss, like you said.
Well, there was some interesting developments on Dynamite as we had a backstage sit-down interview with Rated FTR, and it seems like we're still teasing this Dax kinda turning heel and breaking away from the guys.
Yeah, Dax seems very angry with literally everybody right now.
Exactly. If you see, Dax walking down the street, jump over to the other side for your own safety. I'm not gonna tell you now, jump over to the other side.
Yeah, we've seen it quite a lot of his anger this week. Cope did not seem to take well to it either. He seemed a little irritated with Dax. So maybe we're angling for that singles match down the line.
I feel like we are angling to Dax versus Cope eventually because Cope seemed like the older brother who was kinda annoyed at the younger brother saying like, "You're the reason I'm not where I need to be," and he wants to go like, "Dude, I came to help you guys. Um, thank you. I help you."
Yeah. Cope unhappy with him, and then after further developments on Collision, Cash not too happy with him. He seems to be losing everybody left and right here.
He is slowly marching down to the road to be totally insane.
Yeah, and uh, I mean, even almost hitting officials. He's going to be uh, quite a heel force to be reckoned with, though, because we've seen Dax in his singles capacity before.
And we're here for it, and I'm right here ready with my popcorn going like, "Let's go and see this," and we'll talk about more of that once we get to the Collision recap here. Now, I gotta say, the in-ring between Swerve Strickland and Jon Moxley was great, and they made sure to make Swerve look good. He wasn't a dumb babyface. He didn't get outsmarted. Finally, somebody is standing up to Moxley who is just as smart as Moxley.
Yeah, Moxley seems a little intimidated here.
You know, it's kinda like when you have 2 villains in a storyline and they don't get along and they're trying to fight for power, and they're going like, "Okay, I'm the smartest one." The other one goes like, "No, no, 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 no. We're about to ready to see if first one is gonna embrace the darker side of his personality in order to get this AEW world title off of Jon Moxley 1 week from tonight at Dynasty."
Well, he's certainly no stranger to it. We saw that side from him, obviously in his feud with Hangman, and even before that with the Mogul Embassy, in his matches with like Darby Allen and Sting and everything. I'm very excited for this, and the face to face we later got between Swerve and Hangman made me even that much more interested.
Yes, I got a feeling that we may see the Hangman during this match next week. I got a feeling that he's gonna make good on his promise that Strickland will never be the AEW World Champion again.
Yeah, I mean, he kind of already failed on it once, but you know, he's got a second chance here. So it'll be interesting because Hangman didn't seem as angry with Swerve this most recent time they interacted. So it'll be interesting to see if he even gets involved because he also has a history with Moxley.
Exactly. Which one do you hate more, Heyman? Do you hate Moxley more or do you hate Swerve more? Because eventually you're gonna have to pick one here, unless you're gonna go down there and do. I don't know if I want to breathe this into existence, but we actually have a no contest at Dynasty, and then we boot down to the next pay per view, and it's a 3-way with Moxley, Heyman, and Swerve for the title.
Ooh. See, now like I don't hate that.
I mean, it's a possibility. And the way I was watching Dynamite, it seemed like why bring up the fact that Hangman still has this grudge with Swerve, even though technically they're both baby faces.
Yeah, and truly, like I hate to like break any hearts here, but I don't know if Swerve wins the title here. Like I've seen so many people pulling for him. I would love him to win too, but I don't think they're I don't think they're gonna end this Death Riders thing quite yet.
I agree with you. I don't feel like we're at the end of the Death Rider story yet. So I would not bet this house I'm sitting in right now that Swerve is going to walk away with that title next week. No, I'm not betting my house on this one. Nope.
Yeah, like you said, maybe we kick it down the road, a three-way. Look at all of these guys have some Texas deathmatch experience. Maybe a stipulation three-way.
It could be the most bloody and violent match of 2025. Let me tell you now.
Well, maybe not. Maybe we give Mox a break. His back's got to be still probably not laying on his back quite yet.
Oh, I doubt he has been laying on his back at all in the last week. Because, oh my God, I'm still like blown away with that spot from last week's world title match. But we did have a feel good moment on Dynamite because the team of Top Flight, they were in Minneapolis, St. Paul. They were the hometown heroes. They faced local talent. They got the victory. At the end of the match, the crew came out and we continued the crew versus Top Flight storyline.
Yeah, and then a nice save from AR Fox, who got to make it back on TV. Love to see that for him. I like his association with Top Flight and getting to see Top Flight finally kind of get one, at least I'll say at least not getting beat down by the crew is nice to finally kind of stand tall here.
It was nice to see him with Central. Top Flight kind of had a up and down week in AEW this week. We'll get to it later on here in just a little bit. Let's finish up our Dynamite recap with the main event. It was the tag team match. It was Megan Bayne and Penelope Ford versus the team of Thunder Rosa, Thomas Tony Storm, and I doubt legal would let me say what Tony Storm called a tag team, so I'm not even dare going to say it. But hey, Megan Bayne got the pin clean on the AEW Women's World Champion. How shocked were you?
It was actually pretty surprising, but upon kind of like thinking upon it, I totally get it. I I've seen some criticism of Megan Bayne being pushed into the title picture, but not really having said much or like had many promos or vignettes in her favor. Like she's just come in. I like this. This was like a big statement, and it shows off that she's not messing around. She like it wasn't dirty. We didn't have any like interference really of Penelope kind of trying to get involved and like hold her down or get an extra move in or anything. This was just pure Megan Bayne, and seeing it continue like over into how it did this weekend. Like I'm so excited, and I hope Megan Bayne has sort of turned a little bit, at least a few of those minds around that I've seen.
Well, I gotta say, AEW has done a master class in building her up so quickly to being ready for this AEW Women's World Title match next weekend at Dynasty. And we can debate this. Do you pull the trigger? Do you pull the title off of Thomas Tony Storm like literally a month after she got it from May to put it onto Bane?
No, I don't personally. My totally unbiased opinion, of course. Um, I love Megan Bayne, and she will certainly no doubt be a champion. Um, but I think she takes the loss here to Tony, and then possibly gets into like I don't know, maybe we put her against Mercedes Mone. I would love to see her challenge Mercedes Mone for that TNT title.
True. Or maybe she gets into a holding pattern and we have Mercedes Moné win the Owen Hart Cup and she goes after that AEW world title. And then maybe they vacate the TBS title. Then you have a tournament or something. Then Mega Bang comes in runs the gamut to get the TBS title. You can still keep this build that they seem to be on with Megan Bayne.
Let's get her in a feud with Jamie Hayter after this if we can.
Oh my god, I want that match so freaking bad.
Like, yeah, you got this tournament. Let's slide her in. Let's get her into something with Jamie Hayter, or there's so many possibilities because she's got it all, and I want to see like a lot of people have said, I do want to see more of her like speaking. I want to see some more promo work from her. But man, what a showing from her this week, and what a statement to have her, like you said, pin the champion absolutely clean in the middle of the ring.
True. I feel like Tony Storm is doing great work helping building this women's division up. Ashley, do you even remember when we were complaining week after week after week how bad AEW was treating their women's division?
He has finally listened, and it's nice.
I know it seems like a whole new company in 2025. Let me tell you.
Yeah, no, it's very nice to see it, and especially continued over into Collision this weekend. You start off with Tony Storm, you have the women all throughout. You cap off with another women's main event, which has been like what, like the third or fourth women's main event over the past 4 or 5 shows. Like they have absolutely been killing it as well.
True, Andy's. Let's go ahead and go to our AEW Collision recap because we opened up the show with timeless Tony Storm in the ring talking about her defeat to Megan Bayne, literally on Dynamite 3 to 4 nights ago. And everybody's talking about the camera work here at the spot. Thomas Tony sort of works for a promo. She's calling out Megan Bayne. Megan Bayne doesn't come down. She's like, come down, come Dynasty. I am going to lay waste to you. She gets to the ropes. And we're thinking she's going to say, because I'm timeless Tony Storm, but she gets interrupted by a boot. And that boot was Penelope Ford putting the boot to Tony Storm.
Yeah, and kind of one of the coolest shots AEW production has managed to pull off. Tony Storm up close and personal with the camera, and a boot just comes out of the side of the camera and catches her across the face, and then Penelope stops right in front of it and with a big old smile on her face. A really great shot. Preceded by like a great promo, of course, from Timeless Tony Storm with like cool lighting, and she's dressed as like a Rosie the Riveter type character. Um, Megan Bayne eventually comes out to help dominate Tony Storm. Again, like Megan Bayne looking fantastic.
Exactly. I feel like they're on course to have her built so well that this loss by the AEW World Champion, Megan Bayne's going to suffer this loss to Tony Storm. It's not going to hurt her because they made her so freaking strong.
No, I don't think it'll hurt her at all. Um, I'm interested to see if Tony needs some help come Dynasty, especially to kind of neutralize Penelope.
There might be somebody available, somebody who might be a free agent, or maybe she has some friends in the back. We'll have to wait and see. But we get our first match of the evening on Collision, and boy, what a match. It's our guy, Jay White, Guns Up, versus Kevin Knight. And boy, did Kevin Knight have a showing here on Collision. It made the AEW Collision Colliders want to see the graphic. We wanted Tony to go, Kevin Knight, you are elite. And by literally maybe 5 minutes after the match, we saw the graphic. So Kevin Knight is elite.
Yeah, I was gonna say, ask and you shall receive. Um, very, very good signing. Kevin Knight is coming in and possibly the most athletic guy on the roster. And like, look at the AEW roster. Like that's an insane statement. But genuinely, like, give me him versus Dante Martin immediately. Him
Um,
versus Shelton Benjamin immediately.
dude, that would be a damn good match. How about him versus Hologram?
Oh, immediately. I want to see it all because did you see his vertical leap on that drop kick?
Oh my god, he jumped higher than Okada.
He almost went over Jay's head.
I was like going, Kevin Knight, do you want to play football? Do you want to sign up for the Cowboys? I can use somebody to jump that high to catch the ball sometime.
I mean, he could literally leapfrog everybody. It's insane. His athletic ability is second to none. And like I said, coming in and already just naturally kind of being like one of the most athletic guys on the roster in one of the most stacked rosters I've ever seen is crazy. And I'm excited to see where he goes from here.
True, because I can see him fitting into the TNT title picture. I can see him fitting into that international or continental title picture. And
Hey,
at the
yeah,
end,
give me a match versus Kenny Omega.
oh my god, that would be something else that we would want. Yes, but at the end of this match, Jay White cuts a dang good promo, putting Kevin Knight over, and then he enters himself into the continental title. So our boy Jay White ended Owen Hart tournament. So you already know who we're pulling for the men. So yes, guns up.
Yeah. Oh my God. The men's Owens too. We were gushing about the women's Owens earlier, and I feel like rightly so. Everybody has been that I've seen, but the men's is quietly also going to be very great too. They've done a good job with this one with all the names we have in it already. Putting Jay White in it. Thank you. Thank you. I'm so happy he's not off TV again right now. Like bring him back, put him in this spot.
Exactly. So we go on in the show and we get Mercedes Mone versus a Robin Renegade sighting. Robin Renegade is literally one of the best homegrown AEW women on the roster who usually spends a lot of time in Ring of Honor if you don't have Honor Club. And she has a good showing here. Mercedes Mone, yet again, helping putting over a younger talent. And at the end of this, Mercedes Mone cuts a promo going like, oh, Billy Starks. Let's not talk about Billy Starks. Whoever trained Billy Starks this sucks. And finally, we hear the music of the Minon Overlord, and Athena arrives to Collision, and the crowd goes wild.
Yeah, it's very cool to see her finally get up here on TV on AEW TV where we can put her talents beyond kind of like the talent pool that's been in Ring of Honor where she's kind of done everything she possibly can at this point. Um but I also want to say it's very cool to see Robin Renegade again too because we haven't seen her in quite a what feels like quite a bit anyway. And she is somebody who I saw a lot of fans early on want to either join up with Mercedes Mone or do something with Mercedes Mone. And if Mercedes is continuing to look for some backup, maybe she uses Robin Renegade for that position.
True, because during the show, I was live tweeting on our Blue Sky Social, and one of the fans goes, "Hey, why don't we have Robin team up Mercedes versus Billy Starks and Athena at Dynasty?" I was going like, "Hell yeah!"
Yeah, like even if you do a short term type of thing, I mean, like you said, Robin Renegade is somebody that really showed out and has been a really good like homegrown talent for AEW and would like to see a little bit more of her. It's nice to see her, like I said, back after what feels like a while though.
True. Now, do you know what I didn't care for on this episode of Collision? It's the next match we're going to talk about. Just for the simple fact that we had a good victory for Top Flight on Wednesday night on Dynamite. Why did we need them to be the team to help Big Bill and Brian Keefe get towards the Hurt Syndicate? Couldn't we find two other people to let them have the victory over?
I agree. Especially because this stuff even post match, you didn't really have too much happen except for like A or Fox make the save. Um, I want to see like we've talked about Top Flight in their position, and I would like to see them move towards the tag titles. And this feels like one of those losses that, like you said, kind of just unnecessary for a team we should be building.
It reminds me of 50-50 booking. Their week is literally the definition of 50-50 booking.
I was gonna say you said what was the point of having them lose this match, and I was like balance. you know, like um a good match, but a match that ultimately Top Flight didn't need to be in or take the loss in.
Honestly, I would have reversed the booking of this match. I would have had Top Flight pin Brian Keith so they would take off Chris Jericho a little bit more, and we continue the storyline of them needing to prove themselves to Chris Jericho and keeping driving this wedge to break up the freaking learning tree.
Yeah, I honestly kind of thought that was what was going to happen because they've taken so many losses lately. It made sense to kind of continue into that spiral. But I guess we're gonna have them redeem themselves with Chris Jericho. Yay.
I can tell you're so excited. Let me tell you, I see that big
Well,
old smile on your face. Yeah. Learning tree,
it's
yeah.
just it's so crazy to me. Like we talked the other week about like how Harley Cameron excels as a babyface because that's her energy, and Max Caster excels as a heel because that's his energy. I love Big Bill. I don't think a heel is his energy. When we saw him teamed up with Ricky Starks, what was that, like 2 years ago now when they were the tag team champions? He showed a side that was like very naturally babyface, and they didn't really capitalize on it. He's very charismatic and can be a bad guy, but I think he has such a natural babyface energy, and the like kind of like forced heel with the Chris Jericho thing is kind of bringing me down a bit on the Big Bill character.
Well, I was hoping we were continuing the descent of the learning tree, and Big Bill was going to break out with his baby face here, and just be annoyed at Chris Jericho, going like, "Well, what you think you can do it so well? Why don't you face me in the match?" And we let Big Bill get the win over Chris Jericho, launching the run of Big Bill as the babyface.
Yeah, honestly, I want to see that. I think Brian Keith has actually been pretty good as a heel, so like I feel like he could go kind of either way as he wants to go with it. But I want to see Big Bill kind of break out as a big baby face, especially because I want more of these big guy baby faces being highlighted. Powerhouse Hobbs has been a great addition, so I would like to see a few more.
Well, hopefully down the road we'll get what we want. Let's move on to the next match because this was a very interesting match. We already kind of touched on it. It's Wheeler Yuta picking up the win on Dax Harwood, and we're keeping diving into this Dax Harwood going insane because he's keep on losing before their trios match at AEW Dynasty. And we see him go after the ref, going like, "That was a 2 count." And the ref going like, "No, it's 3. Look, I'm a ref. I got a shirt. I'm a ref." And we see AEW officials come in, try to pull apart the ref and Dax. Dax starts attacking the security, and he accidentally hits his tag team partner, and his tag team partner looks really pissed off right now.
Yeah, Cash Wheeler was very upset. Dax ultimately tried to help him up, but Cash smacked away his hand and got in his face, and then was like, "Sorry, dude, I'm out," and kind of left Dax to think about it. But I don't know how much Dax is absorbing right now. I don't feel like this stuff is kind of going in one ear and out the other right now.
I feel like a lot of people feel like we're going towards a FTR hill run. Well, maybe we're missing the pictures here. Maybe we're missing the breadcrumbs. Are we seeing the split up of FTR?
It certainly feels like it after Collision this weekend. Um, I don't know if it's something where maybe Cash ultimately decides like screw it and joins Dax in his anger, and then they both become heels. But it'll be interesting to see like a more babyface Cash Wheeler taking on a heel Dax Harwood, even if it's a short lived feud.
It's one thing we haven't seen in their whole run as FTR, whether they're at NXT, WWE, or AEW. We have never seen them actually have a match against each other.
I mean, they have both mentioned like possibly not wrestling much longer. Again, this is wrestling. We both know that may or may not be true. But if it is and they are considering it, maybe this is something they wanted to do because this is kind of like crazy out of character for what FTR has always been, which is a tag team, a solid tag team, like like together mentally and everything.
Exactly, like a modern day Minnesota Wrecking Crew, like a modern day Andersons for you older professional wrestling fans who remember Arn and Ole Anderson or the Minnesota Wrecking Crew or the Rock and Roll Express, Midnight Express, those kind of tag teams, the tag teams I kind of enjoy.
Right, and the tag teams that no doubt inspired them. So I'll be interested to see where it goes because I Dax's singles matches that he had when Cash Wheeler was out with injury were fantastic, and to see him kind of have this renewed fire as a major heel could be a very interesting play.
True. We'll put a pin on this because I know we're going to be talking about it in the weeks coming here on our podcast and our YouTube show. So let's move on to the next match. And it's one that was added, like you always say, at the last minute by Tony Khan going on social. It's Blake Christian versus Hologram. Hologram 21-0 coming into this match, leaving 22-0 after defeating Blake Christian.
Yeah, another good showing for Blake Christian, who kind of joining up on AEW TV this week. Um, Hologram though, man, again comes back from injury, hasn't missed a beat, and another good match for him as well. The transition into his portal bomb was kind of crazy. He caught Blake Christian and it looked so cool.
Yeah, because Blake flipped off of the top, off of the middle rope, going for maybe a crossbody or something, and Hologram just catches the dude and goes into the portal bomb. I was like, sweet.
Yeah, no, a very good. If you're into the flippy wrestling, um, I still want to see maybe Beast Mordos get that win back over Hologram.
Well, we were trying to figure out who is the person that's going to end this run of Hologram being undefeated. We'll leave that to you, the
I
listeners.
want it to be beat.
I know you want to be Beast Mortos, but we're going to let the fans go down to our YouTube comments. Leave us your choice. We'll see what you have in mind. And I know Ashlee's going to go there and go like Beast Mortos, Beast Mortos, Beast Mortos, Beast Mortos. But anyway, we'll see. So we get to the main event of the show, and I was looking forward to Queen Aniana versus Jamie Hayter. Unfortunately, Queen Aniana is injured with her wrist. We want to wish her a speedy recovery. But this was a dang good replacement because Billy Starks showed out against a returning Jamie Hayter, and the transition to the Hayter aid off the middle rope for the win was great.
Yeah, honestly, it looks so good too. Like you said, first of all, Queen Aminata, get well soon. Please come back soon. We love you. um, but you probably couldn't have asked for a better replacement and somebody like Billy Starks. Coming off that showing against Mercedes, what a way to do it. And then to tease Athena and Jamie Hayter post match, sign me up for it all.
Exactly. Yes. Sign us up for that. That's what we want to see. So that has been your AEW Collision recap here on All Elite Radio. Ashlee, it's time for your new favorite segment of the show. We call it Heat Up or Cool Off. It's where we give you 4 AEW active wrestlers, and you decide if Tony Khan should heat them up or cool them off.
Okay, let's do it.
And your first wrestler this week is no other than Lance Archer. And I kind of know where you want to go with this one, so I would suggest heat up.
I would say heat up. Um, I like the tag team with Brian Cage. It has made Lance Archer feel more important than he has in AEW television in quite some time. That is the unfortunate perk of Don Callis. He makes everyone around him feel more important, and he is a good person to have in that position. They've sort of found a little bit of chemistry over the past few weeks. Um, I really like the tag team. We already teased Lashley and Shelton Benjamin versus them. Build them back up and let's get back to this match.
Now, this week, I was reading off of the newswire. I think it was a Wrestling Observer saying that Brian Cage is suffering with a minor injury at the moment, and that is why we're getting the Learning Tree versus the Hurt Syndicate instead of the Murder Machines versus the Hurt Syndicate, and this feud going on right now for the Hurt Syndicate. So hopefully Brian Cage gets back, and we can have this match that we all want to see, and we push the Murder Machines to the moon.
I mean, in the meantime, have Lance Archer do some squash matches or something with Don Callis out there by his side until you can have Brian Cage return. You don't have to have like a huge segment for Lance Archer to be out there and be dominant and to make an impact.
No, just have them throw around some local talent, carry them down to the ring, beat them up, toss them out of the ring, rinse and repeat.
Right. And like I said, unfortunately, have Don Callis out there with him because Don Callis is so good at like him on commentary. Again, unfortunately, great. And he's so good at building up his clients and stuff like that. I want to see him maybe with Cage out for this little bit of time, help put a focus on Lance Archer, and then when Cage comes back in, boom, you can kind of move them up together.
Exactly. So my second option for you this week is Thunder Rosa. We saw her tag team up with Tony Storm on Dynamite. Would you want to heat her up or cool her off?
This is so hard. This one is probably the hardest one I have to answer because look at this women's division right now.
I know it's a little different top to bottom. And oh, by the way, she never lost her AEW Women's World Title, as we learned again last night on Collision.
Yeah, kind of calling out Chris Statlander a bit here. Um, you know what? Heat her up. You've heated up the rest of this women's division over the past few weeks. Should she fail in the Owen, have the out be a feud with Statlander.
Exactly. I was happy that she didn't take the pin on Dynamite because I really thought in that match she was there to take the pin by Main and Bane, so you didn't have Tony Storm eat the pin. But since they had the champion take the pinfall, I was kind of happy because Thunder Rosa has suffers a few losses recently coming once she's came back from her time away from AEW. So I want to see her be heat up a little bit and get back towards that AEW World Title.
I thought the same thing too. I thought she was there to take the pin. And they have made mention of her never losing the title, so maybe we are kind of headed towards something there.
We'll see. So I'll do my third one this week for you as my third choice for heat up or cool off is the tag team that we've been talking about on the show tonight, Top Flight.
I want to say heat up because I've wanted them in the tag team title picture for a long time. I feel like we're getting a bit dragged down with this crew stuff though. Um, I would say get past this crew stuff and then heat them up.
That's how I feel too, because I feel like finally they are healthy. The thing with Top Flight has been either one of the brothers has got injured at an inconvenient time for the tag team. And we seen both guys have single runs and they're fine, they're good single runs. But I love to see them get a chance at the AEW World Tag Team titles. And oh my God, Shelton Benjamin, Bobby Lashley versus Top Flight. Sign me up for that match sometime soon, please.
Yeah, absolutely. I like I said, I want to see them move up in the division. I feel like we do got to get past this feud though that has felt like pretty never ending at this point.
You know, we talked about the Jericho Vortex. Is there a crew vortex?
Well, it felt weird because we didn't see much from them for a few weeks. Like it was like they were taken off TV. I don't know if there was like maybe an injury or something. But kind of getting right back into it felt like we should have had some sort of closure point by now.
Agreed. I'd love to see Top Flight get away from the crew. Even though I do love the crew as a tag team, I feel like we can split these guys apart and have them do other things.
Yeah, yeah. There's too many tag teams for these guys to be focused on each other so much.
Okay, so the last AEW wrestler I want to give you this week for heat up or cool off is the chosen son of Christian Cage, Nick Wayne, and apparently Nick Wayne is in business for himself and he might be taking over the patriarchy.
Oh, listen, heat up because I already love Christian and everything that Christian has done with the patriarchy, but we've seen these like vignettes with Nick Wayne talking over the past few weeks and questioning Christian's fathership and leadership abilities, and even like even the attire changes, like where he was going from wearing the black t-shirts and black pants, now he's wearing white, which is so Christian is wearing the black uh, turtlenecks and stuff. It feels like he's kind of turning on it. I want to see Christian get back on TV soon because I'd be very interested to see what he thinks of Nick Wayne's seemingly new independence.
I feel like he's not gonna be happy that he's trying to take over the patriarchy. I feel like
No, not at all.
he's gonna deliver some fatherly advice, and it's gonna be painfully delivered.
Yeah, he's an egomaniac. He's not going to let this slide. So I'm very excited because Christian is such a good, goofy, but like evil heel. Like I can't wait for him to come back and see what his son is doing. Because where does this leave Kip Sabian too, who's sort of joined Christian but has been left with Nick Wayne and all of now what he's got going on.
Yeah, and Kip Sabian is kind of playing like the middle here, going like, I really don't know what side I want to fall on, and it doesn't seem like he wants to be totally with Team Nick.
Yeah, I mean, we know Mama Wayne has got his back, but it would be interesting to see what happens with Kip Sabian because we honestly haven't heard much from Kip since he's joined the patriarchy. We heard a little bit from him as he got into it, but mostly it's been Nick Wayne speaking on everything now.
True. So that has been heat up or cool down here on All Elite Radio. We're heading towards the home stretch. We're heading to the final countdown, Ashley, as I have a series of questions here, and I want you to give me your top of the mind answer. So we're going to hit that music. And my first final countdown question for you is, should AEW hire Gail Kim to help with the women's division? Because apparently TNA lost their mind and they fired Gail Kim.
Easy answer. Yes, absolutely. If she has any interest at all and Tony Khan can make it happen, with what they've done with this women's division over the past few weeks alone, bringing in somebody like Gail Kim to, have an occasional match if she wants to, but to help run this women's division, uh, I mean, they've already been killing it, but this would kick it to the next level.
I agree with you. I feel like AEW needs Gail Kim. If Gail Kim is willing to join All Elite Wrestling in any form, what she wants to do, it would be a good thing for All Elite Wrestling. So
Yeah.
my second question for you, Ashley, is it time for the learning tree to break down and we see finally Big Bill say, F this, I'm done with the Jericho Vortex. I want to run myself.
F this. I'm done with the Jericho Vortex. I want to run myself. um, again, yes, I want to. I just need a break from Chris Jericho. I mean, look at this roster right now. We're investing far too much time in this, I think. Um, Big Bill is fantastic. Brian Keith is fantastic. I want to see more of these guys. I want to see more of them away from Chris Jericho. And like I said earlier, Big Bill, I want to see as the big baby face. Big Bill, big baby face Bill, we can call him. um, but Brian Keith, I feel like he could go either way. He could either separate from Chris Jericho and also turn baby face, or he could kind of even branch off and stay a heel because I think he's done pretty well as a heel.
Okay, so my next question for you. We learned this week on Soraya's podcast that she asked for her release from AEW and was granted her release. So my question to you, Ashlee, how will you remember Saraya's run in All Elite Wrestling?
Um, I kind of just whelming. I guess it wasn't very underwhelming. It wasn't very overwhelming. She had the very cool moment of winning the title in her home country at All In, but other than that, didn't really do anything to stand out, but also didn't really do much in order to stand out. Like she didn't have many matches. Um, I will remember as helping kick off Timeless Tony Storm when they turned on Tony Storm and everything. So I guess I'll thank her for that. But um, I would say rather harmless time in AEW, but not really remarkable at all in any way.
To me, it's like the biggest what if in the women's division because I was so excited to see Saraya join All Elite Wrestling. We were getting Saraya back in the ring after her neck injury and being away from professional wrestling in ring for a long time. And she came back. They had that short babyface run with her. And for some reason, Tony Khan got the idea in his head that she needs to be a heel. And I'm going like, dude, she just came back from a major injury. There's nobody that wants to boo her.
Right. People were just excited to see her back in general. Um, kind of like a bad reading of the room there, I guess. Um, I feel like they could have gotten more out of her. Um, and not sure why she wasn't at least used more in some sort of like managerial or like like mouthpiece capacity. Like we saw a little bit of it, and I liked her in that capacity as well. I don't know how well she was holding up with the matches, if physically she was having any more issues or anything like that, but I thought she was pretty well in that role, and I would have liked to see more of that if they could have made space for her.
True, I agree with that. So let's move on to my next question for you. We kind of hit it on it during the recap or our heat up cool down segment. Will Nick Wayne take control of the patriarchy? Is he trying to undermine the father of the year?
This is going to be interesting to see if the patriarchy will be taken over or he takes it over and maybe just kind of kills it off. Either way, I'm very excited for the potential Nick Wayne Christian Cage showdown, and I want to see what we can do with Nick Wayne because he's so talented in ring, and to see what Christian has been able to develop in him over this past like what a year and a half, how long they've been teamed up. I would love to see him kind of branch out so we can see the influence here.
I agree with you. I feel like Nick Wayne versus Christian Cage during the summer here is going to be something special that we're all going to be talking about.
Yeah, and nobody to help make Nick Wayne look good than Christian in the ring.
Okay, so my second to last question for you, Ashlee. Will MJF destroy the Hurt Syndicate from within? Because we saw him kind of accept the offer. Then Bobby Lashley went, "Hey, that card, give it to me." He tears that up. We see a backstage segment where Bobby Lashley is turning to MVP like, "Dude, this is MJF. You can't trust him." And MVP goes like, "I know he's reprehensible, but those reprehensible qualities in MJF helps us make money. I'm a business guy. I'm here to make money."
Yeah, and I'm very interested to see where this goes because, like I said, MVP seems super interested in having MJF in the group, and Shelton Benjamin, while not as outwardly unhappy as Bobby Lashley seemed, also did not seem to really care for MJF being offered this. I if I was MJF, I would be terrified, but he's MJF, and I don't know if that kind of stuff registers with him. So it'll be interesting to see how MVP and Bobby Lashley's relationship makes it through if MJF hops aboard the Hurt Syndicate here. I would love to see it. I'm very interested in the dynamic. I I don't know if MJF destroys the Hurt Syndicate or Lashley destroys MJF.
Because I feel like we're heading down to the road to babyface Bobby Lashley versus heel MJF with MVP in his corner, and I feel like that's the direction of this story is going to go, and I'm all here for it. And I want to see Bobby Lashley destroy MJF.
Yeah. Also, I would be 100% interested in where that would leave Shelton Benjamin. Would he stay with Lashley?
I think yes. I think you keep Bobby Lashley and Shelton Benjamin as a tag team after you have these sit of feud with Lashley and MJF, and MVP runs with MJF for a while. Then maybe we get back around to reunify the Hurt business Hurt Syndicate down the road.
That works. The idea of the dynamic of MVP and MJF is just, it's too good to pass up on.
I know. I just been thinking here for like the last 5 days, like this would be something great for AEW if they do it. I just don't know if they're willing to do it. I've got my fingers crossed. So, final question of the evening. We learned that Mina Surikala has left Stardom. She's all elite. So, where in this stacked women's division do we put Mina Surikala?
um, Depending on how soon, how many slots do we have left in the Owen? Do we have any left? Maybe there. We seem like we're gonna have Athena and Mercedes, Thunder Rosa and Stat. I mean, Mariah hasn't been on in a few weeks. You kind of have Mariah come back and kind of pair up with her true love here.
See, we were thinking, what did we do with Ryan May after the defeat to Thomas Tony Storm? Well, here we go. We visit this feud with Marina Surikala getting revenge on Mariah May.
Or team them up, have them make up, team them up, and then give us women's tag titles.
Well, true. Touche. Fair point. This division deserves tag team titles. Let's just go ahead and say there's enough women here to deserve a tag team title division.
Oh, absolutely. Especially after these past few weeks. Every woman that's been given the opportunity has absolutely stepped up and like met like expectations and exceeded them. I'm very excited for it. And like I said, if they can nab Gail Kim somehow, 2025 for the AEW women's division could be legitimately their best year yet.
Exactly. And that has been the final countdown here on All Elite Radio. And ladies and gentlemen, we are moving All Elite Radio over to our YouTube channel starting next week with our live AEW Dynamite preview. We will be exclusively on YouTube channel All Elite Radio going forward. We have a very special announcement at the end of the live Dynamite preview that you would want to listen to. So go over to our YouTube channel, hit that like button, subscribe, and we'll see you there next week. But before that, Ashlee, where can we find you on the social medias? If we're on the Super Information Super Highway, are you?
It's at groovyash.bsky.social on Blue Sky, and I'm always just skiing along with the show's live.
And she is the best follow on any Dynamite or Collision on Blue Sky that you can possibly need, let me tell you. And you can follow this show on our Instagram account at All Elite Radio, our YouTube channel, All Elite Radio, or you can also follow us on X at All Elite Radio. And we'll see you next week on YouTube. Until then, have a stunning start to your week. Enjoy your professional wrestling.